products should speak for themselves, right? Where if you have to pay someone to pretend they like your brand, your product just isn't good enough.
Welcome to Honest Ecommerce, a podcast dedicated to cutting through the BS and finding actionable advice for online store owners. I'm your host, Chase Clymer, and I believe running a direct-to-consumer brand does not have to be complicated or a guessing game. On this podcast, we interview founders and experts who are putting in the work and creating real results. I also share my own insights from running our top Shopify consultancy, Electric Eye. We cut the fluff in favor of facts to help you grow your e-commerce business. Let's get on with the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Honest Ecommerce. Today, I'm bringing to the show the CEO and co-founder of JunkTheory, the first ultra-clean skincare line to be packaged entirely in metal. Justin Wolff, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Chase. Awesome to be here.
I'm excited to chat. So quickly at the top, just kind of let folks know, what is JunkTheory? What are the types of products you're bringing to market?
Yeah. JunkTheory, in short, is a premium, ultra clean skincare line that's packaged entirely in metal, the most recycled and recyclable material on earth. Really, the company, its genesis was founded on the idea that clean has to mean something more than just formula. We can't end the conversation there without giving any thought to what those formulas come packaged in. So it's really a rethinking of the entire idea behind clean beauty. The concept of, clean formulas deserve to come in sustainable packaging. Why hasn't anyone done that yet? We see a lot of small incremental moves in the category, but nothing that is sort of a game changer in terms of, sustainable packaging.
Absolutely. Now take me back in time. Where did the idea for this product and, this packaging come from?
Yeah. So in 2014, I co-founded another impact brand called Yoobi. It was a school supply company built on the idea or concept of one-for-one giving. So for every item we sold, we donated a school supply item to kids in need in the U.S. That business grew really quickly, was picked up by Target. And by our second year, we were giving more than 1 million kids a year free sets of school supplies, all in the U.S. My co-founders of that brand had built out later on, a few years later, a beauty incubator where they had a lot of relationships with celebrities, a lot of relationships with retailers and throughout the supply chain. So everything was kind of done under the same roof. And that's where I got my real first peek behind the proverbial curtain to see and learn how that beauty sausage was made. And what I very quickly realized was that this is an industry with very little regulation, almost no transparency, and it was just drowning in plastic. And so, as someone who's really enjoyed building brands that have impact that go beyond the sort of, financial bottom lines, the idea is, hey, wait a second here. There's this meteoric rise in let's call it clean beauty. Almost no one can really define what that means. And at the same time, the conversation seems to end around formula. Whereas, I had this sense that it should really begin there. If we're going to talk about clean beauty as a category, of course, the formula should be good for people and planet. But then maybe it's worth us asking, given the single-use nature of all the products in this category, shouldn't we start thinking about what those formulas come packaged in? And that was the kind of genesis of the idea behind what would ultimately become JunkTheory.
Absolutely. And what was the material that you kind of settled on for the packaging? Yeah,
so I'll take you back a little bit. And really, one of the first things that we did, me, my co-founder and I with JunkTheory, is we actually took a trip out to Jakarta to go and film and document and record the legacy of our single-use plastic and the amount of waste that was out there. And we found ourselves walking on literally floating islands of plastic off of the coast of Jakarta. That was the kind of thing where once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that sent us down a path of, okay, well, if we're going to try and do something that's not incrementally better, but really something that's impossible to ignore, we really needed to start with, material analysis. What could we package these things in, right? Because there's a lot of choices out there, right? And we actually first started with ocean waste plastic. We thought, hey, let's pull plastic out of the ocean and, repurpose it into jars. And then when people are done with it, they can either, send it back to us or we'll upcycle it. But what we very quickly realized is that, ocean waste plastic is just too degraded to actually effectively use in skincare packaging. There's a lot of what's called greenwashing out there about, what kind of materials can be used and not. There's a difference between ocean waste plastic and ocean bound plastic. Anyway, the key thing that kept us from going down the ocean waste plastic route, beyond just how, ineffective the material was as a packaging solution, was the fact that less than 5% of plastic gets recycled in the U.S. So we were thinking, okay, it's great that we could do this. Maybe we can pull it out of the ocean and make packaging, but at the end of the day, when people are done with our products in 2 months, it's going to end up right back where it started. So that moved us away from there. Then we started looking at a whole range of bio polymers and materials, sugar cane and wood polymers and all kinds of things like that. However, the challenge that we had with that is that they, as compostable as they would like to call themselves out as, they really need to be industrially composted to be effectively composted. And the infrastructure is just not there in the US. So that led us down to some, sort of old thinking on, hey, how was stuff packaged before plastic was ubiquitous around the world? And metal was a real solution back then, metal and glass. And then we began to analyze the sort of recyclability of both, the carbon footprint of both. And long story short is that we ended up with metal, aluminum, the most recycled and recyclable material on Earth. It's lightweight. And we didn't want the consumer to have to do any kind of heavy lifting. As soon as you ask the consumer to start going outside of their normal behavioral patterns, the efficacy of your impact program could be severely impacted. So any sort of, hey, ship this back to us. Okay, we're adding carbon footprint. Hey, take this into a store. What are the odds of someone actually doing that? So we just said, hey, how do we meet the consumer where they're at and create something that they can just responsibly, recycle curbside? So, at the end of the day, it's our jars and our, bottles here all made from, metal. And when you're done with them, you just pop them in the recycling bin and they will get recycled. So ultimately we felt like, metal or aluminum was the material to really change the game and wake the industry up in terms of, its sustainability problem.
Absolutely. And so you've got the story and, the green power behind this, recyclable packaging, but there's some might argue the more important part of the brand, the makeup itself, the skincare itself. So walk me through kind of that and how that all played out.
Yeah, that's a great question. Look, at the end of the day, people are buying formula, not packaging, right? It's not like we go into a store and, hey, I need my moisturizer and I'm thinking only about packaging. So you're absolutely right. I think that was one of the most important lessons that I learned actually in my time at Yoobi, where I was a chief giving officer over there. So my job was basically to build out and communicate the impact side of that brand. And I always wanted to put impact first, and put that messaging there about how much we're giving away and how important it is that everyone has access to basic school supplies. But I think the most important lesson that I learned during my time at Yoobi was that if your the product itself does not win and it's not better than what sits to the left or the right of it on the shelf, whether that's digital or in the real world, then you don't create any impact. So we took that philosophy into JunkTheory and, for example, we just did not do any shortcuts when it comes to formula. It was one of the biggest investments that we made at the beginning of the company, was to actually go ahead and develop these formulas from the ground up with one of the best green chemists out there. Kind of dirty little secret in the beauty industry. You're going to see brands popping up every 2 seconds. You will almost never see a brand that builds formula from scratch. Essentially what they do is what's called white labeling, which is essentially a formula that will have some standard stock formulas out there. You maybe sprinkle a couple of new ingredients in it, and you call it yours. We didn't do that. And we built these things from scratch. Our formulas across the board have been winning awards across the category since we started. And I actually think that's been one of the best drivers of sales and brand loyalty, is the fact that our formulas are so good, so effective, and they actually do what they say they're going to do. The other thing that I think is really important with our formulas that you don't see often in the industry is that we have 100% ingredient transparency. So in the beauty industry right now, if you have ingredients that are less than 1%, you don't even need to disclose those things. And our thinking is this is just part of the junk in our industry, right? In terms of what kind of ingredients can go into formulas and what kind of packaging, those formulas are housed in. It's all junk. And, at the end of the day, we're talking about stuff that people need, right? So they're going to buy it. The question is, how do we do it in a way that doesn't create more junk in the world? So I think at the end of the day, we created best-in-class formulas that are housed in the most responsible and sustainable packaging the category's ever seen. You need those two together.
Absolutely, Justin. All right, so you guys have put in the work. You've made a product that you're proud of. Now, how do you get eyes on it? How do you get out there? How do you find customers? What was that kind of go-to-market strategy?
Yeah, it was not easy. Look, when we first started this company, about 2 weeks later, the entire world shut down from the pandemic. So kind of raising capital was difficult. Supply chains were difficult. And, having meetings with face-to-face meetings so all these things were difficult. It ended up taking a lot more time and resources to actually get the company to launch. But one of the things I'm really proud of is that, this is very different than how we launched Yoobi, for example. Yoobi, we launched in Target's 1,800 Target stores, with 8 feet of shelf space. So it was just a huge retail presence. I think when we think about JunkTheory and what it's meant to do and what I hope to achieve in the category, this is a very different approach to growth. I think one of the most important things is that we've done it organically, right? So initially at launch, we just didn't have the budgets to do 5-figure, performance marketing, campaigns at launch and all of that. What we did is, we have to be very nimble, with the resources that we had. So for the most part, it was a strategy of two things. One is just basically organic outreach, right? My co-founder and I reaching out to every person that we knew, every ally that we did, that we had, and reaching out and saying, hey, give this thing a shot and tell a couple of your friends, which was great. And then the other strategy that we really leaned in on was PR, right? How do we make this company, give it legitimacy? How do we start to win awards in our category and get mentioned by outside people, like not us telling you that these are great formulas, but actually, some of the industry leading publications saying, hey, this is the best new beauty launch of 2023, best new cleanser of 2023, best overnight treatment, and the like. So it was a combination of sort of real organic outreach through value alignment and PR, which was able to highlight us in ways that, again, in such a crowded category, no one is really doing what we're doing. So those two strategies were how we kind of launched the brand.
Absolutely. And how did that fare for you?
So it's been great. Actually, within 1 year, we were cash flow positive. Strictly through digital channels, which is amazing. So we've seen growth. We've seen a repeat purchase rate that's about 50% higher than our category average right now. And I think that's a testament to the quality of our formulas. There's a lot of ways you can do that first sale. Mm-hmm. To achieve that second sale, your product really has to do what it says it's going to do. The efficacy needs to be there, and it needs to be something that the consumer is actually receiving benefit from. So I'm really happy to see those numbers all in a very healthy place for where we're at right now.
Hey, Shopify store owners. Have you ever wondered if your store is leaving money on the table? Imagine increasing sales without spending more money on ads. Sounds too good to be true. Well, it's not. I'd like to introduce you to StoreTester. StoreTester is a done-for-you conversion rate optimization service for Shopify merchants. Could your store benefit from increased conversion rates, higher average order values, and improved revenue per visitor? StoreTester could be the perfect partner for you. From ideation to implementation, this full-service A/B testing service takes all of the guesswork out of improving Shopify stores. StoreTester does all the work for you while offering month-to-month transparent fixed pricing. It gets even better. They believe in their service so much, they're offering the first test for free for qualified merchants. Let me repeat, the first test is free for qualified merchants. Curious to see if you qualify for a free test? Reach out today. Visit StoreTester.com to schedule an intro call. That's www.StoreTester.com. Schedule an intro call today to see if you qualify for a free test. Hey everybody, today's podcast is brought to you by Intelligems, the ultimate profit optimization tool for Shopify merchants. I'm telling you this, obviously I own an agency. We use Intelligems when we're running split testing and CRO stuff for all of our clients. Are you looking to maximize your profits? Intelligems offers data-driven solutions to optimize your content, prices, discounts, and shipping rates. Join over 500 happy clients who have seen significant improvements. With Intelligems, you gain control over your e-commerce economics, boosting your profit per visitor by an astonishing 36%. But that's not all. Intelligems users report a 54.62 increase in revenue per visitor and a remarkable rise in conversion rates. How does Intelligems do it? Through a suite of tools that allows you to A/B test everything on your Shopify store, from landing pages to product prices and shipping rates. Imagine testing new layouts, offers, even a new Shopify theme with ease. We're testing a new landing page for our client on a new theme versus an old landing page on their old theme right now. Intelligems empowers you to find the perfect price point for your products and optimize your shipping strategy. But there's more. Boost your average order value with customized campaign offers and discover if your customers prefer free shipping or a lower list price. With over $100 million in incremental profit generated, they have over 1.5 billion transactions ran through their software. They have over 400 million shoppers that have gone through their test. Intelligems is not a tool, it's a game changer for your business. Are you ready to transform your Shopify store's profitability? Book a demo today at intelligems.io. Empower your brand to reach new heights. Again, that's Intelligems, giving superpowers to your customer acquisition, retention, and overall profitability. We're recording this heading into Q4 of 2024. Obviously, Black Friday, Cyber Monday is right around the corner, and, the holiday sales season. So how has your strategy changed since, going so heavy in PR and digital to now?
Yeah. So I think right now where we're at and what I'd like to see is I'd really like to start to test our digital chops at this point. Is we at some point have to go beyond or organic, right? That'll only get you so far. And now what we really need to do is start to test our fundamentals on digital channels, right? I want to know what my actual customer acquisition cost is going to be, my ROAS, and what my LTV is going to be. And the only way to really understand that is to begin a kind of a performance marketing campaign. So we are, for the first time this month, going to be investing in performance marketing to grow and start to learn those fundamentals. But we're doing a couple of other things that I think are really interesting as well. One is, we launched our email marketing program as well. So we didn't even have that for most of the first year going out. So now we're able to communicate much better with our existing customers and new people that have left us their email, etc. So that's been really great. We're also doing a lot of cross-brand partnerships. I think it's really interesting because we're able to speak to other brands, non-competitive brands that have a shared sort of value alignment in a way that I just haven't seen other brands be able to do. So there's another brand that's made the conscious decision, for example, a water brand that says, hey, we're going to package our water in aluminum jars or cans instead of plastic bottles and things like that. There's a real opportunity to connect with our audience at a values level. So I think that's really important. There's debit cards now that, you get rewards when you buy from sustainable brands, So us doing a partnership with a debit card company, where they're kind of pushing their audience to, hey, shop here and you get, this additional money off. So those kind of cross-brand partnerships I think are really interesting. And the final thing is our impact partnerships. So we have, a couple of partners that we work with to help bring awareness around, plastic pollution and the dangers and harms of plastic. So us being able to work with nonprofits like that and help contribute to their cause, they help give us research and information that we can then publish and share with our audience. And also they have pretty big followings as well, whereby almost, all that audience feels very strongly about the core issue that we feel very strongly about, which is ending the plastic era in beauty. So those are just some fun ways that we've begun, kind of exploring how to grow digitally and beyond the organic sphere.
Yeah, and I mean, putting in all the work up front to get that earned media from all the PR stuff, from, getting editorials written about you, being on podcasts, all that does is it raises kind of your organic traffic and gives you some more SEO juice. So when you go and start to spend money on paid, you're going to see better performance than just starting paid from day one.
Yeah.
And it's something that I always like to call out when I meet brands that are, they crawl, walk, run, as opposed to going right to run for performance is something you've oftentimes seen. Is you're going to, while it takes longer, obviously, to grow the business, you're going to see better results.
Yeah.
Would you agree, disagree? Feel free to disagree.
No, I actually agree. I'll agree and disagree. I'll agree in the sense that, one of my favorite things about JunkTheory is that, we did not take on institutional money. So we did not take on VCs. We took on, friends and family and angels, which, keeps us in control of the brand and doesn't force us into a position where we have to make decisions about growth that are really determined by a venture capital timeline versus, what's the right thing to do for this brand and how do we grow it responsibly? Because I'll give you an example. If you want to go into retail, it seems like such a fantastic opportunity, right? You want to go into some big, Sephora or something like that right off the bat, So, hey, we're in Sephora, we're a national brand, all of that. What a lot of brands don't realize is the risk that you're actually taking on when you're going into a major retailer. So, inventory risk, for example. If you don't sell through the products that they bought from you, that's sitting on the shelf, you have to buy them back in almost every case. That can bankrupt a small brand, especially, very, very quickly. So I think it's just much better to grow it organically and honestly. Also, you see all kinds of digital tricks and tactics, to make brands look bigger. Hey, let's buy our first 10,000 followers on Instagram or, whatever it may be. And I just think at the end of the day, people are going to see through that. And I would rather have our numbers, which is a 4-figure number of followers, where every single one of those people legitimately went on and signed up and took an interest in our brand than, paying some company abroad to get 10,000 people to sign up just so it looks like I have a bigger following. Again, I just think there is so much junk in this industry that part of the ethos of this brand is to kind of clear through that and show people how to kind of see through it, what they should be looking for and thoughtful of and mindful of.
Absolutely. I mean, the name of the game for the podcast, Honest Ecommerce, is to cut through the bullshit. And I feel like we've got a lot of similar values between what we're doing there. Justin, this has been fantastic chat. Now, is there anything I didn't ask you about that you think would resonate with our audience today?
What I'd be curious to hear from your audience today is, there's so much talk around influencer marketing and everything like that. And we have not engaged in that. I just think that there's something really dishonest about the idea of paying someone to say or pretend that they like your brand. And I'm very curious to hear, where your audience is right now along something like that. Because to be quite honest, I think one of the first paid campaigns that I'm going to do or that we're going to do with the brand is centered around the idea that products should speak for themselves, right? Where if you have to pay someone to pretend they like your brand, your product just isn't good enough. I'm so happy to welcome anyone with a following who believes in what we are doing and the importance of the mission and vision of this brand, to help us spread that word. But I just think, at least for now, it feels like there's a sort of dishonesty. And I know that probably goes against, what most brand founders will say, in terms of their influencer strategy. But I just like the idea of preserving and holding onto, the honesty of this brand and the transparency of it, and just letting people know that when someone says something good about this brand, it's because they actually feel it versus, it was a paid opportunity for them to say something like that. So very curious to hear what your audience thinks about that kind of, engagement digitally.
Well, if they have an opinion, how do they get a hold of you? What should they do?
Get in touch with JunkTheory. We're on Instagram at JunkTheory, or ship my email. I'd love to hear from you. It's justin@junktheory.com.
Absolutely. And then obviously, if I am curious about the products, I want to give them a try. I want to give you an order. What's the website?
JunkTheory.com. JunkTheory.com.
Justin, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Amazing. Appreciate it, Chase. Keep doing the amazing work you're doing.
We can't thank our guests enough for coming on the show and sharing their knowledge and journey with us. We've got a lot to think about and potentially add into our own businesses. You can find all the links in the show notes You can subscribe to the newsletter at honestecommerce.co to get each episode delivered right into your inbox. If you're enjoying this content, consider leaving a review on iTunes. That really helps us out. Lastly, if you're a store owner looking for an amazing partner to help you get your Shopify store to the next level, reach out to Electric Eye at electriceye.io/connect. Until next time.